Hey everybody, Cody Hawkins here, Senior Gold Ambassador for Plexus Worldwide. And I've had something on my mind that I've wanted to talk about for a while. So I'm going to do a special Skeptical Spouses video without any guests, just me. I'll take the next 10 to 15 minutes to kind of go over something, again, that's been on my mind. Before I do any of that stuff, let me get the disclaimer out of the way. I'm an independent ambassador. This video is not sponsored by Plexus. There is no guarantee of income when you work for Plexus. Your success is really dependent on the effort you put into it, your commitment level, your skill level, your leadership abilities, and how you exercise those abilities. So again, 10 to 15 minutes on the R word, or recession. I've been researching a lot lately, and especially after the first of the year. And I have this weird feeling, and I'm not an economist, I'm not an expert on finances like this, but on macro economics either. But I've been reading a lot of articles and I've seen a lot of stuff, and I think it's a good topic to talk about because at some point it will happen in our future where we experience another recession. Many of us remember the 2007 recession all too much, and maybe some of us even lost our businesses and our houses as a result. But what I want to talk about is the opportunity that network marketing presents during a time of recession. So first, you might wonder, okay, so what actually is a recession? So I looked it up, pretty easy to find online. Recession is defined as a decline in gross domestic product, or GDP, for 2 or more consecutive quarters in a year. So GDP is actually the goods and services that we produce here in the U.S., for example. The U.S. GDP are those goods and services here produced minus the cost of those goods and services, minus the cost to produce those. So over and above the cost. Right now we sit at about $17 trillion. You're asking again, why? What is this? What does it mean, and why should I care about this, the GDP, the recession? Well, Adam Hayes of Investopedia says that the U.S. since World War II has gone through a recession about every 5 years. And if you remember, the last recession was in 2007, right? So we are due for another recession at some time in the future. And I've seen news reports, I've seen articles talking about how many believe that recession will happen this year. If you look at what's out there, some of the signs that actually let you know that a recession is coming, which it's impossible to predict the future, but there are some signs out there, and I'll give you some of the signs right now. If you look at our current situation on the stock market, the market has soured. The S&P 500, or Standard & Poor's 500, started the year down 9%, which is the worst it has ever started since it began in the 1940s. The Dow is down. Also, if you checked your portfolio, your stock portfolio, if you have one, you've seen your stocks down quite a bit. The entire global community is actually suffering right now. European money crisis continues. Still plenty of bailouts for many of the countries there. China is actually experiencing its first economic disruption in quite a while. They've been pretty successful, and they've been pouring a lot of money into their economy for the past 20 years. Their bubble right now is said to be bursting. Student debt is a big one too. Student debt is over $1.2 trillion right now. And a lot of students are unable to find work, as many of you know, who either are students or have kids. They're having trouble finding work, and the bills are piling up, and many are having trouble paying their debts, and the student loan debt. And it's funny, it's not funny, but it's interesting to see how this compares to the housing bubble, the housing crisis of 2007. A lot of those bad housing loans were lumped together and sold as safe bonds to many Americans preparing for retirement. The same thing is happening with student loan debt. So we're seeing a lot of these bad loans being lumped together and being sold as bonds to many of us. So it's looking like it could turn out to be a similar situation for us, which is not good. I talked about the students who are having trouble finding jobs. Unemployment. Unemployment is actually below 6%, or is said to be below 6%, which is really good for the U.S. But the problem is we've stopped looking at those people who are underemployed or who have taken part-time or temporary jobs and have taken themselves out of that market, of that job market. And if you add those people back in, we're actually looking at an unemployment rate of 10.5%. Okay, 10.5% are numbers that we haven't seen since the 1970s. So we had the recession in 2007. We had a recession in the 90s. Many of you remember 80s as well. I was talking to my dad the other day. He remembers a recession starting about 1983 and ending in the early 90s. So almost 10 years or around 10 years of a downturn. Something else I've got here in my notes, it's down. Retail sales are down overall in the first quarter of this year. U.S. factory orders have dropped. Real GDP, as I mentioned the number, it's actually down, which is typically a sign of a recession. U.S. exports have weakened. Corporate profits are down. The pattern is there for an economic downturn. And what puts us in an even worse spot is that the government is in no position right now to bail us out. You've seen interest rates, they're already at almost zero. And we've spent a lot of money. The Federal Reserve has spent a ton of money to pump money and made a ton of money to pump money into the economy. I'm not sure if they can continue to do that. So why do I tell you all the negative stuff? I'm not trying to be Chicken Little. I'm not trying to tell you the sky is falling. What I am trying to tell you though is this is, even in this negative time, in the near future or a year or two or three or five down the road, a recession will hit, and it is an opportunity for network marketers to grow their business. If you say, well, I'm on the fence about network marketing, I'm not in network marketing, I'm considering it, consider it your plan B. Because if you were like me, we were a single income family for a while, Jen had to get a job. In case you don't recognize the last name, Jen Hawkins, Diamond and Emerald Ambassador is my wife. We were doing fine. We were making ends meet. She had to go back to work and work in the oil and gas business. But if you're a single income family, like we've experienced before, then you know there's a lot of pressure on that one income. And if there's a downturn, typically when there's a recession, that means there are layoffs. So you could get caught up in that layoff, a potential layoff. And then we're talking about if you can find something, being underemployed, not making nearly what you were making before. But if you have a plan B, like a lot of people who do network marketing do, then this is an opportunity for you as well to provide some financial security to your family. According to USA Today, network marketing is considered a recession-proof industry. Fortune magazine calls network marketing the best kept secret in the business world. Another source that I found in doing the research for this talk is that it says network marketing industry, the industry itself, increases by more than 600,000 people in the U.S. Annually, and it's estimated that 50% of all U.S. households will at some point be involved in network marketing. Again, during a recession, if you think about what people's mindset during a recession, it actually becomes easier for you to recruit during a recession because people open up their minds to other income opportunities, other income streams. When things are good, they might not. They might say, "I'm good. I don't need it. We're fine." But again, when things start to take a turn, or there's fear in their minds about, well, what do we do if I lose this job? If we lose this job, then again they start thinking about other opportunities that are out there. And I don't mean other opportunities. Some people do this, right? And we've all been there where you've got a full-time job, you need to make some extra income. So you decide, well, I'll go to Starbucks or whatever and be a barista to make some in my off time or at night to make some extra money. So you're working for someone else for a set wage, odd hours that you don't pick, when you can actually start your own business with very little capital in Plexus, $34.95, start a business, make your own hours, and have potentially unlimited income as well. So just think about that I've got a note here that talks about Michael Sheffield. If you haven't heard of him, he's the author of How a Recession Affects Network Marketing. He says that shaky economies, again, often make those not previously interested in our business interested because they're now entertaining the idea, like I said, of other income streams. Bess McCarty is a life coach and a business coach. She's been doing it for over 20 years. She's also a successful network marketer, direct salesperson. She has a list of things here in an article that she put out called Network Marketing, an Answer to These Economic Times. She says, network marketing has the ability to provide job security, backup in uncertain times, like I mentioned, gives you the ability to grow a side business while keeping your current job. So if you think about a business anyway, you know, my dad had always told me the best time to look for a job is when you have a job. Well, the best time to start a business is when you have a job. So if you think about a lot of people who've taken part-time work and turned it into full-time, they started off with their secure job, right, working for someone else. They started something on the side, and once they built that income up to a certain level, they were able to leave. Now you're doing something that you enjoy, hopefully, that you even love. And that's another one as well. She mentions it allows you to do something you want to do and that you love to do. Another thing is, in this business, she says there's no pressure to succeed within a certain time frame. It's all up to you. And again, your efforts, your commitment, your skill level, your leadership abilities. If you've been in a sales job, you know you have sales quotas, right? And if you don't meet those sales quotas, a lot of times you lose your job. So there's no sales quota here, but the pressure is put on you by yourself. Maybe you have your own personal goals that you want to meet. Maybe you say, we need to make $500 a month of income in the next 3 months. So you can put your own, goals together, and I encourage you to do that. Something else, she says, you could argue that there's more job security working for yourself versus others. I know that I work harder for myself than I do for others, and I know my wife does as well. And we know that we're working to provide for our family, so that's why we do it. And we love doing it, and it's a job that we enjoy. So it doesn't seem like work a lot of times when we do this. When we do these videos, or she does the majority of the videos, when I do the skeptical spouse videos, I enjoy it. I enjoy talking to people, and I enjoy talking about topics that interest me and that interest others. The last thing that she talks about, that Bess McCarty talks about, is how beyond a recession, how network marketing can actually supplement your income during a time of inflation. I live in an area, we live in Denver, and today it's a beautiful day outside, and I've got my Hawaiian shirt on here, wishful thinking, right? But Denver is one of those hot housing markets, and housing is we're at a point now where housing has finally peaked out to where first-time home buyers can no longer afford the down payment. So you have a quandary here. You have a situation where first-time home buyers can't purchase homes because the housing prices are too high, which means that other people who are looking for their second or third home can't move because there's no one to buy their first home. So it works together. We all work together to move up. And if the first group in line can't move in, then it stops the whole process and it hits the housing market. That's another thing that a lot of cities are dealing with too. So inflation, talked about, cost of living. She also says network marketing can be a great way to earn extra income. I mentioned in retirement, if you're looking for some extra money in retirement, or if you're ill and you need some residual income to help pay for medical bills or help pay you while you can't work. My wife just had a baby. We just had a beautiful baby. She's not ill, but she's taking maternity leave because we can afford to do so, because she is getting that residual income and I'm getting that residual income. And we're spending time with our kids and our new baby. And so that's awesome. Another thing, if you're disabled, it's a great income. Network marketing is a great income for those disabled. You can, if you're able to use a computer and you have relationships and you can even meet face-to-face, it's a pretty awesome way to earn an extra living or an extra income. So what it all comes down to, again, I talk about recession. I talk about some of the signs for recession. And I talk about how network marketing can be an answer to weather the storm. I'm not trying to scare anyone, but I will tell you again, every 5 years or so, U.S. hits a recession. And I personally don't want to see people that I know, people that I care about, get caught up in it again, because I've seen it before, and I don't want that to happen. So if you're in the business, if you're in direct sales right now, I encourage you to work this business like another recession is coming, so that you have that income just in case something happens. Just in case. If you're not in this business, if you're on the fence about this business, I encourage you to look at this as a plan B. This is a backup plan for you to provide that financial security, that additional financial security to your families, to your family, to your friends, whatever, and to take that burden off of you, because I know that financial burden can be so stressful. That's about it. And one more thing, if you're thinking about this business, I encourage you to go all in, to jump all in head first and get in it. If you do it, treat it like a full-time job or treat it like a part-time job. It'll return the favor of whatever you treat it like. Okay, so if you barely put any time into it, you're going to get a very small return. So think about reap what you sow, right? That's it. That's all. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or call me. My contact information is on Facebook. Cody Michael Hawkins is me. If you're a guy out there or a lady who has a guy who is kind of on the fence about this stuff, I encourage you to check out the Plexus Man Cave. We are almost near 1,000 members. This time last year, we were right around 60. So we've exploded in growth on Plexus Man Cave. It has become a great source for men. It's only for men, and we do that because we want to have a safe space for guys, but we want to talk about guy issues and talk about guy things and encourage men as man ambassadors, as Josh French calls them. But we also want to provide a place where we can talk about stuff that may not fit in some of the other groups. So Plexus Man Cave, great place to send people. That's it, guys. Hope that helps. Work your businesses hard. Best of luck to everybody. Take care.